Welcome back to Entertainment Central. I'm Luca, and today I have with me Sahaj, Kevin, and Michael. Today we'll be diving into the topic of which is better, reading or watching. We'll start off with a few different icebreakers, and then we'll start. Okay, so Kevin, would you like to start for icebreakers of, have you been watching any movies, shows, or books recently?
A movie that I've been watching right now is Halloween Ends, and it's a great movie if you like horror.
Sounds like be good. Sahaj?
Yeah, I recently watched Deadpool and Wolverine, the one that came out like a month ago.
Was it funny?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Sounds like fun. Michael, your turn.
I've been watching lots of football since the NFL season started
Nice. When did it start?
a couple weeks ago.
Okay, it's cool. I've been personally reading this book about World War II happened differently, where the Axis won and what life would be like in that time period. It was very interesting. So now time to move on to the main discussion, which is what's better, reading versus watching. Let's start with you, Kevin. I'll start off with Michael this time. So what do you think is better?
I think movies are better. I prefer watching them. I feel like they take less time most of the time. And they're more entertaining to me. Because, you can visualize.
Yeah, that makes sense. Most of the time movies are generally more compact. Saj?
I think watching's better because reading it's hard to be motivated to read these longer books.
Yeah,
So,
it does happen
yeah.
a lot. Kevin?
Watching, because while reading, you can just imagine, and while watching, you can physically see how long it takes and what's happening.
Yeah, I do agree. The visualization part's a big key. I personally think books. I just feel it's a lot more fun to read, in my opinion. But it's really just up to your opinion. So now, for our first main question is, name a book or movie that made a significant impact on you. Michael?
The Dogman books, they just that's what I first started reading. That and the Captain Underpants books, those were pretty funny.
I used to read a lot. They're good. Saj?
Yeah, I think Dogman's pretty good, but my book is Diary of a Wimpy Kid. That's the reason I started reading as much as I do now. It really hooks me in, and that's why I read a lot now.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It's just a very unique story genre of a diary. Kevin, your turn?
Dogman books. Because I didn't really read a lot, and then once I read Dogman, it just made me more
What was so good about them for you? I'm curious.
pictures, and instead of words, it's just colors and stuff.
Still the comic book style?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of younger people read it. Me personally, I think Hatchet, I read it a while ago, and I read the whole book at one time. It was an hour long. It's amazing. Loved reading since. Next question is, what are the disadvantages and advantages of both, reading and watching? Josh?
Well, I think reading takes time and patience, and not all people have the time to do that. And watching's just fun to do. Watching movies are shorter as well.
Yeah, I do agree. Books are very time consuming.
I feel like a disadvantage of reading is it's very time consuming, like Saj said. And to me, it's not as interesting.
Okay. Kevin, any disadvantages?
Yeah, because while reading you can get distracted, and while watching, because you're focused and watching it, and while reading your eyes just move, and it's distracting if there's noise in the background.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do have the problem when I'm reading. Me personally, I think the disadvantage of reading probably is just generally how time consuming it is, and also the imaginating part. I feel like authors have to be able to write really well for you to be able to imagine the situation correctly. But how about we move on to the advantages of reading now? Kevin?
It helps you with your brain and stuff, and it's just relaxing if you're stressed.
Yeah, I do agree it's very relaxing. That's why a lot of people read before bed. Saj?
I think reading's really good because you can imagine it the way you want it instead of how the movie portrays it.
That is a good point. There's a lot more imagination toward the books than movies.
I
Michael?
agree with Saj. With the imagination aspect, makes you think more in movies too.
To agree with that. I think an advantage of books is that you can also get a lot more information from them and also help a lot with reading and writing skills. So I'll be moving on to disadvantages of movies. I'll start with you, Saj, so I haven't done that yet.
Well, sometimes you need to pay money to watch movies earlier than other people.
Yeah,
And books you can just get one from the library and then just read it for free.
that is a good point. But there also are old movie rent shops. Unfortunately, those are out of business mostly. Michael?
like Sasha said, you have to like pay money for a lot of them, and like a lot of them come with subscriptions on apps and stuff.
I do agree with that. I think Prime takes a lot of advantage from that.
Yeah,
Kevin?
Yeah, I agree with Michael and Sahaj because if you can't like go to the movie theaters, you can just go like to Amazon Prime, and you spend like watching a movie like for $20, and while in the library you can like get one and return it back if you're finished, or like just pay like $5 for it.
Yeah. I think the disadvantage of movies is kind of like that sequels. Most of the time, you notice are written very poorly, and also the issue with pirating. Because like point out the fact about money, a lot of movies do get pirated, which causes business to lose a lot of money from that. So we move on to the advantages. Michael, would you like to start?
advantage with movies is well, like the visual aspect. Like you could see what is instead of imagining. Like you could do other things while watching a movie.
That is a good point. You like snack on popcorn, right? So how much would it go?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. You don't always have to be like fully like interested in the movie to like it, but like when you're reading a book, you need to be like reading it like very closely to like get the full picture of it.
That's a very good point. Very lot more focus when it comes to books. Kevin?
Yeah, I agree with Sahaj on that. And you can like pause the movie, and while reading a book, you can just like pause it too, but like just put a pencil on it or something.
It's a little also hard to find a spot when you're going to go for a while.
Yeah.
That was advantages and disadvantages, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So let's move on to our last question. Do you think movies or books are a better source for learning life lessons? Michael?
I think that books. I think that a lot of time they have like life lessons tied into them, especially with the shorter ones. Normally have some type of like lesson involved.
Like poems? I do agree with that a lot. Kevin?
I think books because in books there's like a background to it and backstory. With books, like if you don't know like what's happening, there's like a description and like a backstory of what happens.
Yeah, that'll happen a lot with like epilogues.
Yeah.
In general, yeah. Sash?
I think books are better for life lessons because like movies you practically just watch them for like the entertainment, but like with books it's easier to like see what they're trying to like what the life lesson is.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I also think books are able to more easily capture the life lesson than movies are. I think they have a little harder time. That wraps up our interview section.
I would like to take a short break from the main content and move on to this episode's sponsor, Disney Minus. Do you want to watch many movies except you don't want to pay for each one? Consider Disney Minus, a completely free platform where you can watch all of your favorite movies such as Marvel, Dynamics, and Pixar. The audio of this platform is imaginably good, and the video quality is even better. Sign up on our website and start binge watching every movie that you want.
I'd like to move on now to our fun facts. Michael and Zahad, I heard both of you have some.
Yeah,
Would you like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So, did you know that 42% of college graduates never read a book after college?
Damn, really? That's kind of crazy. Especially ones that take like reading 11 majors must be crazy. Michael?
I have a fun fact about movies. The first movie made was in 1888.
Do you know who it was by?
Nah,
Okay. So now I do have one more thing to move on. I have a Q&A for our guest host today, Mr. Bernstein. Would you like to come in?
Hi, Entertainment Central. How are we?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Doing great.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
So since you're here, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What do you think is the best book for students to read?